Hello and welcome to Sutton Impact Family Style episode 138. Hopefully a full episode. Sorry about last week. I'm Jason.
And I'm Bill. And I'll start us off with what I think is the most intriguing sport business moment of the week.
Ooh, cool.
That Riot Games and League of Legends signed a sponsorship deal with Louis Vuitton. And Louis Vuitton is now making the case to store the Summoners Cup. So you like how they transport the Stanley Cup all around and everything else?
Yeah.
So now the Louis Vuitton case for the Summoners Cup. And it might sound odd and it might not sound that significant, but it's significant for a couple of reasons. One, since most of their following is in the Far East, in Asia, in Korea, Japan, China, Louis Vuitton is a very hot brand in that market. It's a very desirable luxury brand. So that's one reason I think it's intriguing. The second reason I think it's intriguing is it's a foray for a video game to sign a sponsorship, because it doesn't really seem like, well, there hasn't been much. And now that you do this, and it's not inside the game, it's kind of peripheral. You know, it's the cup. It's related to the cup. And that's not putting it in your face in the game. But there's also going to be some skins. And so that's the part I want to see how that works out. The part that's going to be inside the game, I wonder how that's going to go over. So if you do have Dan on the show next week, that might be an interesting thing to talk to him about.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
how he sees the sponsorship happen in the game.
Well, I listened to a few video game podcasts, and just sort of pseudo skin related. Fortnite had Batman Week this week, where they release some Batman skins that you can wear for your characters, and obviously that's where they monetize. Like, the skins don't help you in the game. Like, you don't become Batman. You can dress like Batman, and things along those lines. And, Greg Miller, who's one of the bigger ones from Kind of Funny, used to be of IGN. Like, he said he hasn't played Fortnite in months, but he's a giant DC fanboy. So he's going to log on, buy the skins in case he ever goes back to Fortnite. So I know some people, they just, if it's a cool looking cosmetic item, and we've seen, and Dan and I talked about this in the past, there's been other games that have tried to monetize in other ways. And they had a clear, the way that to make money in video games, if it's a free-to-play game, is through the skins. It's through the cosmetics, because nobody can get mad. It doesn't affect anybody else's gameplay. It doesn't single people out. It doesn't give people an advantage, but it lets people to play the game a lot, have a little bit more artistic freedom in the game.
Let them express themselves in a way that's meaningful to them.
And in another, on video games, did you see Apple's new video game service?
I did not.
So Apple is releasing, it's a subscription-based service. So for $4.99 a month, you can play on your tablet, your phone, your computer, whatever you want to play on, any Apple device, and I think some other devices too, but definitely Apple devices. And for $4.99, you get up to, I think by the end of the year, 150 games. No microtransactions in any game, no ads in any game. So you're getting the full game by themselves. And they got some pretty good developers to jump on board with some of their games. And again, they're not typical cell phone games. They're more closer to actual, I know it sounds weird to say video games and cell phone games, but cell phone games have a lot of got you quick mechanics, where video games are a little bit more twitch and skill based. They have a lot of those games on there from some big developers. And again, no ads, no microtransactions. And you can actually use your PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo controller with their games. They all adapt to Bluetooth, and Apple's not selling just, you have to use the Apple, like an Apple controller. They're like, you already have a controller, use another controller. Which is a really unique way to do it.
So is this part of the Apple TV thing, Apple Plus TV or whatever they're selling now?
I think,
or is it different than that?
It's separate. It's a separate subscription, but like I said, it's only $4.99 a month. So for $30 a year, you get exclusive access to all these games with no microtransactions and no ads, and you can play with any controller on any device, which is very different than what Google's do.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very sustainable. If I had,
and I'm curious, it looks like Apple spent a lot of money on content for the new TV option too.
They really did. While we're on the Apple stuff, I don't really feel like any of those TV shows look very good, but they have a lot of famous people in them, and that's pretty much all you need at this point. So I think they'll do pretty well. I mean, you have Jennifer
We'll
Aniston
see how.
and Steve Carell in one show, and Jason Momoa in another show. So that's
Oh yeah, I saw the Jason Momoa clip. What is that show about?
essentially it takes place in the future or an alternative universe. It's kind of hard to say exactly where, but everyone has gone blind, and the thought is that our sight had led to all these evils, and now these two children are born in Jason Momoa's village. I'm not sure if he's the father or just the chieftain, and these two children can see, and they feel like they're the future of the world, but there's an entire cult that feels like Vision is going to bring back all the darkness and all the evil. So they're out hunting these two children.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, it's certainly not reinventing the wheels. I mean, it's hard to, and again, based on a trailer, it's hard to think it's something I'd want to watch, but it didn't look great to me.
Okay. Well, let's jump in and talk about, I'll talk about baseball to start off with. Last day of the season. The Rays and the A's are going to be in the wild card, and the Nationals are waiting to see if they're going to play the Brewers or the Cardinals. So the commissioner kind of got what he wants. It stayed exciting to the last day, and the last day has meaningful games. The last day also had meaningful firings, as Joe Madden got fired today and Clint Hurdle got fired today.
Yes.
So I don't understand the Madden hire unless he just rubbed people the wrong way. They wore him out. The Hurdle thing was due. And I hope they don't stop there. But if it's Huntington firing people, I mean, Huntington needs to fire himself. So we'll see where that one goes. But on was it Friday night? Friday night was Steve Blass's last telecast for the Pirates. And he's been with the Pirates as a player and a broadcaster for 60 years.
Wow.
And they did a lot of really neat tributes to him that night. But what I thought was the most amazing thing is the Pirates walked off a win with it in it for his last game in the broadcast booth. And I thought that was really cool.
That is very cool.
It is very
even
cool.
Where wins have not been easy for the Pirates to come by.
No, they haven't. So I'm thinking the Astros look very strong. The Yankees look good, but not as strong as the Astros. And in the National League, it's just going to be who's hot. I don't like the Dodgers relief pitching. I like the Cardinals. I like the Braves. But I really like the Astros of everything I've seen.
Well, they have
good pitching, good speed.
I was like, you just look at, Verlander, Garrett Cole, that 1-2 punch. I mean,
and Zach Greinke's your third 1-2-3
pitcher.
I mean, that makes it pretty tough in a 5-game series, right?
Yeah, or 7. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
So we'll see where that goes. College football. I've seen Michigan play. They're not that good.
No.
So Rutgers must be abysmal if they could beat 52-0.
I would say
so. I always questioned that move of Rutgers going to the Big Ten. I just didn't think they bring anything. They bring the New York market, which is why the Big Ten wanted them. But seriously, just because you live in a Big Ten market doesn't mean you watch Rutgers. But you already might watch Ohio State or Michigan just because they're good teams.
It's true.
And I saw Clemson struggle yesterday but I really think Mac Brown and the job he's doing at North Carolina is really, really incredible.
It really is.
And so I'm really happy for Mac Brown because he's a genuinely good guy. And I think at this point in his life, he's living it day by day, just loving what he's doing. And that was amazing. And I love the fact that he went for 2, that he didn't go for 1 to try and tie it up, put the game in overtime. He went for 2. And I really respect that. So I'm a big Carolina Tar Heel fan now the rest of the year. See how they do.
And Carolina's always been a team. I mean, you look throughout the NFL, like they've gotten a lot of talented players that have gone through there, but they've never been able to really put it together. And I like
it's it's a conference that always was dominated by Florida State, and now it's been dominated by Clemson. Virginia Tech was very, very good at one time, but now, I mean, I don't know how long Max Brown's going to coach, but he might be able to build something special there. So I hope so.
I hope so as well.
So they were forecasting their Heisman Trophy candidates today. And, I think it's pick 'em. I mean, Tua, Jalen Hurst, the the running back from Wisconsin, they're all amazing.
Yes, they are.
They're all having great years. And then they mentioned Chuba Hubbard, the guy from Oklahoma State, who is leading the country in rushing. He had 299 yards yesterday against Kansas State.
It's a pretty nice day.
But they dismissed the Big 12 because there's no defense. So if that's the way people are going to feel, Jalen Hurts is probably not going to get a fair look.
No, but
even though the last two Heisman Trophy winners came from Oklahoma in the Big 12.
It's true. I feel like that kind of hurts him in a weird way. But on Tua's standpoint, you got Jurdy and that other receiver that are both considered like top 10, top 15 picks in the draft. And the third receiver is a potential first-round guy too. I mean, so he's got, as much help as anybody.
Yeah, he's got
some huge weapons, yeah.
And Jalen Hurst has a lot of guys that are replacing guys that went on to the pros last year.
Exactly.
So from my standpoint, I like Jalen Hurst, but I also really like the kid from Wisconsin because when he's in the backfield, they stack 8 guys on the line because Wisconsin doesn't throw the ball. So it's not like they don't know he's going to run the ball, and he's still successful.
It's true. I mean, while a defensive player almost has no shot of ever winning, like it's tough for anybody to beat a quarterback in the Heisman race, especially one that's going to have
it's gotten season. No, it's gotten tougher. Notre Dame beat Virginia, which was forecast to be a tough game. It started off to be a tough game, and then Notre Dame won. But Alabama and everybody else, I mean, LSU, Auburn, it's going to be really some really good games coming up in the next couple of weeks when these teams start playing each other. There's just not, I mean, there's like 6 or 7 teams that are definitely a cut above everybody else.
I think that's fair to say. And Alabama's our new number 1 after they jump Clemson. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's going to be one of those teams unless Auburn or LSU beat Alabama.
And again, you look at me, like I said, you got Tua, who could very easily be the first player off the board of the draft. I always pronounce the guys wrong, but Giroudi, whatever the one receiver, he's supposed to be a top 5, top 10 pick. The other receiver, I think Mel Kiper, I mean, for whatever it's worth, Mel Kiper has him ranked as like the 14th best player. And then you add in a couple of their defenders. I mean, they're just a monster team.
They are a monster team. But like I said, I like Oklahoma. I want to see what happens when Oklahoma, Texas is this week. It's always a good game. Always one of my favorite games of the year. But, it's not like an Alabama LSU or an LSU Auburn game is going to be. So we'll see.
And obviously the dream matchup in the playoffs would obviously be Oklahoma, Alabama. Jalen Hurts, Tua going at it again. I think that would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Oklahoma, Alabama. And, you're not going to have a Pac-12 team.
No.
So you're going to have Clemson. If Clemson's going to go undefeated for sure. So Clemson will be a 4. So Alabama, Oklahoma, and then another team probably from the SEC, LSU, Auburn, or Georgia.
Yeah, because, I mean, the UCF, those play.
Or Ohio State. Ohio State's killed people. Ohio State's up there too.
Yeah. Because like I said,
we'll see. It's going to be.
Yeah, the UCFs and the other people in the world, there's nobody in that. There's no beautiful underdog here.
No.
So.
No, but you know what, Jason? It's only September, but I'm saying this is going to be another year that shows it should be more than 4 teams. I mean, it's just 4 teams just isn't right.
When you're constantly putting 2 SEC, because SEC it becomes like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If it's if it's already preseason the best division, then if you're the second best team in that conference and you still get to the playoffs, then nobody really has a chance beside you. Weird,
Yeah, you can just hang on.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch to the pros. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs win, and he does not throw a touchdown. Who would have bet that happening?
Nobody. And,
nobody.
I mean, Detroit played a hell of a game.
And so the mini Belichick, Patricia, I don't know. Maybe he's got it. Maybe he's figured it out. Because their defense looked really good.
And Kenny got
again, they just made some mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, they look like a good, legit team. I mean, they're playing with the Bears and the Vikings and the Packers, so I mean, it's a rough division to be in. But you know, but switching to the Bears,
I watched. Well, I watched. You talk about the Bears. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So Mitch Trubisky, who has been sort of the, clearly the Achilles heel of that Chicago Bears team, because everywhere else on that team, you're looking at a Super Bowl contender. He goes out. We still don't know what's wrong with him as of yet. I don't know if they've announced it since we've been on the podcast, but Chase Daniels came in, threw a touchdown on his first drive. It looks like this drive's probably going to stall out, but Minnesota's defense is no joke. So
Yeah.
I wonder if Bears coaches are secret. I mean, I'm sure they, not secretly happy, but I mean, Trubisky just doesn't seem like he's got it.
Well,
Speaking of North Carolina,
I know. And when they drafted him, I thought it was a reach. But I'd never heard of him. So I thought, okay, I don't know anything. I just thought it was a reach. I thought he went too high.
well, they traded up a spot to get him in a draft with Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. So,
yeah. How's that working out for you?
yeah, not very well.
Other oddities today. The Dolphins actually had a lead.
Yes, they did.
I was in shock when I saw that, and I thought, no, they can't blow this. They can't blow their 0-16. So I was relieved to see that they crashed back to the ground. The Bills outplayed the Patriots and lost, and so now I'm just, if New England could play that bad and win against a really good defense,
Yeah, it's tough.
that tells me how good they are. I mean, Brady is the master of grounding the ball when he's in trouble. I mean, they didn't call it. There's a couple of them where he didn't get the ball past the line of scrimmage, and he was in the pocket, and they didn't call it. But he does not get hit, and he gets rid of the ball.
And he does not.
He had an INT today.
Yeah. Well, obviously he made the interception, but like the team just typically they're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to help you.
They're not going to beat themselves. I scored 2 touchdowns today, 1 on a block punt.
Yes.
And Buffalo did all they could. Well, Buffalo spotted him a 13-0 lead.
And between the two quarterbacks, added 4 picks to that game, which never helps against the Patriots.
No. Josh Allen looked, if people were saying how good he was becoming, I didn't see it today while he played.
No.
And then Matt Barkley showed some flashes of brilliance, and then he reverted to being Matt Barkley.
Yeah, Josh Allen and Trubisky both have those flashes. And I think Josh Allen has maybe flashed a little bit more, but they seem to be still in that athlete that plays quarterback rather than a quarterback who's
Yeah, you're exactly right on that one.
Because it looked like
you're exactly right.
Josh Allen left plays on the field today. I'm not saying they would have beat the Patriots ultimately, but there were plays he could have made that he just didn't make. It's really sad.
I watched the Browns and the Ravens, and the Browns played the best game they played all year.
Well,
they looked like the hype team that we've heard about all year.
Yes. Yes, they did.
Defense played well. Mayfield played well. They look good. They look legit. In other football news, though, our friend Antonio Brown is going to file 9 grievances in the amount of $61 million.
Yeah.
Now, I might be the dumbest person on earth, because if you ask the Raiders to release you, why would you ever think they still owed you money?
You wouldn't.
You asked for your release. You wanted to be a free agent, and you signed with another team. So I don't think there's any contractual obligations there at all.
No. It looks like, from what I've read, though, is that the Patriots will owe him that money. He'll get his $9 million from the Patriots.
But he won't get the $20 million for the second year he's asking for.
No, he won't get that. But he's going to get the $9 million signing bonus. And if he could just shut up for a while, I'm sure he'd get signed again. Because now he's feuding on Twitter with Eric Weddle and Baker Mayfield for no apparent reason.
He is. I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
Well, I hate to admit that I agree with something Stephen A. said, but having watched the Steelers play the last 3 weeks without him, they have no one on that team that can get open.
Yeah, I mean, he was a game changer. There's no question.
Game changer.
He made Juju better. He made Juju better than Juju is. And I like Juju, and Juju's a solid number 2 receiver. He's not the guy you could take Juju out of his game. You could double cover Antonio Brown. He can still get open.
Yes, he can. And he makes other guys open. Because Stephen A. said the team that considered bringing Antonio in, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, that will never happen. That will never happen. Looking forward to the Cowboys-Saints game tonight.
Oh, this whole city is looking. There's so many Dallas people in town right now. It's pretty nuts.
So, do you think your new hometown has a shot?
Like I said, it's the loudest place I think I've ever watched a game. You've got a huge home field advantage playing in the dome with that noise. So I think they definitely have, and you have, you still have Breeze and Michael Thomas and Kamara. I think you definitely have a shot.
But Breeze is still out, right?
Breeze is still out. Yeah, I think even with Bridgewater, you got a shot. Like I said, that building is going to be loud and rocking and exciting, and this is a great test for the Cowboys.
Yeah. I agree. It's a tough place to play. One of the toughest places in all sports to play. The size of that dome, the number of people in that dome, how loud it is, and how all the noise stays in the dome and cascades down. That's an impressive place to play.
One more football
that is really
thing.
Tough.
Just because I'm still ashamed, I think the NFL should be ashamed that he's even in the league. Vontez Burfict got thrown out again for just another awful, dirty hit that knocked another player out of the game today. And I know in the past people said because the hits were against Steelers, that was part of the reason I didn't. But I'm like, those were just really dangerous hits, and he continues to do it. And I just don't understand why that guy still has a job. I just don't. Not that I want to take food out of his mouth.
And here's what I don't understand. The Players Association backs.
I know.
And to me, the Players Association should be concerned about the other players. Like this guy has the potential to end your career, and he's not bashful about trying to. So why would you want him in? He's going to hurt your membership.
I don't get it.
I don't understand it. Let's switch basketball for a minute. Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
Is now the protector of Kevin Durant. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Kevin Durant already say that it was his decision to play, that the Warriors didn't ask him to play and the Warriors didn't make him play?
That's exactly what he said. Almost word for word, give or take.
And Kyrie Irving is saying that it's the Warriors' fault he got hurt because they made him play.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't understand him.
No. But, he and KD are tight, so maybe there's, and KD's a very passive-aggressive guy. Maybe he wanted to, who knows what's going on. I don't see those guys coexisting long-term, though.
Yeah, as talented as KD is, I'm not a KD fan.
No.
And I've never been a Kyrie fan.
No.
So I'm more interested in watching LeBron and AD play together. I think that's going to be fun. I think that's going to be a real team-oriented
But they
offense.
did take a big blow this week when they lost Kuzma for an indefinite amount of time. Because he was supposed to be the half of the, there's no more big threes, but you need a big 2.5 now, I guess. And he was supposed to be the half, the guy that stepped up and could, play off those two guys with the, especially with the attention that would go to him. So it's kind of sad to see.
I know what I'd like to see happen. I would like to see Vince Carter get asked for his release and go join the Lakers. I think Vince Carter could be a great role player on that team. He doesn't have much left in the tank, but the little bit he has is still pretty effective. And I think he could be a nice piece. But again, that won't happen. But I thought, if it's Christmas, that's what I'm asking for.
Okay.
I'd like to see Vince Carter on a really competitive team for once.
Well, he had his chance, but he chose to skip out of the playoffs at one point too. So I'll never forgive him.
That's true. Anything on the entertainment thing? I watched a show the other night that I don't know how I feel about it. I think you would hate
Prodigal Son?
It was called Evil. So you haven't seen it, right? I think you'd like the storyline, the concept. I just don't know if you'd like the execution.
And it looks like we're about to wrap up.
So if you get a chance, watch Evil, and then let me know what you think.
So thank you guys all for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. And go Steelers this week, although...
and I'm assuming you're not there.
Normally when your team is having a bad season, the one thing you love is that you know that there's a high first-round pick coming. And unfortunately with the Steelers this year, they traded that pick away. So now we have no pick to look forward to and an 0-3 team that just... I don't know. I haven't lost hope. I still picked him in the pool this week. So that's it.